Hello friends, welcome to or back to my channel. My name's Haley and today we're going to be reading the Dream Harbor series. So the Dream Harbor series is by Laurie Gilmore, and the first book is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, and my book club decided to read this book, and once I started reading it, I knew I wanted to read more of the series, and so today's vlog, we're going to be reading the first 3 books that are out and published in the Dream Harbor series. So the books that we're going to be reading are The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and The Christmas Tree Farm. And at this point, I have read all 3 of these. It is a super fun series, and I can't wait for you guys to see my reading experience. So let's just hop right into it. I am here to check in about the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which is the first book in the Dream Harbor series. So I have started this book. My book club meeting for this book is tomorrow, and I have read 16% because that's just how I am. But so far, this book is following Jeannie and Logan. I believe those are their names. If they're not, don't come for me. But basically, Jeannie inherits the Pumpkin Spice Cafe from her great aunt, and she was previously like this big businesswoman, and she decides that she doesn't want to do that anymore, and she inherits this cafe. And so she moves to this small town to run this cafe, and the first few nights that she's there, she's hearing this like rustling sound outside of her house. And so one morning she hears it and she goes down with a baseball bat to find out what it is, and then that's where she meets Logan, and Logan is a local farmer who delivers produce to her shop and some other shops in this like little town. And she starts like telling him all about her problems, and right from the start he's like, oh my god, this woman is too much, like how do I get out of here? But at the same time he kind of feels this like strange fondness for her. And then he invites her to the town meeting that night to kind of get some ideas about what she could do to fix her problem. And he shows up there, and apparently that's pretty rare, and so his friends are kind of giving him a hard time. And then I believe it's just going to unfold from there. Logan seems pretty smitten with our main character, even though he doesn't really want to be. And his friends say that he falls really hard, and just to like watch out and not hurt his feelings basically. But so far there hasn't really been too much other than Logan clearly being interested in Jeannie, and Jeannie kind of just being a hot mess, like trying to start over. And it's kind of doing this thing that I find kind of annoying, and it's like the new Jeannie, and it's like trying to change her entire personality. And I just like don't really like when books do that, where they have the characters be like, oh, well, old me wouldn't do this, but new me, and like they have certain names for them, and like hers is, I can't remember, like, but I don't think it's like the new me. It's like something about like being like relaxed or carefree or something, and I'm just like, if that's not who you are, that's not who you are. Like that kind of annoys me in books. But nonetheless, this is just meant for a cute, fun, good time, a spicy, fun, good time, I believe. And yeah, so I'm going to hopefully read this within the next 24 hours and go to my book club, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Okay, so I want to give an update about the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So I am now 50% through the book, and I was supposed to have book club yesterday and I was going to finish it, but then book club got canceled, and it was my first day coming home from work and not going to practice or something, which was so nice. I just relaxed. But I am now 50% through this book, and the relationship has progressed. So there has been progress in the relationship, but it's also kind of odd because they still don't really know each other, and they haven't really spent time getting to know each other, because Logan, like, and you find out that like Logan had this kind of like traumatic breakup before Jeannie moved to town, and so like the whole town kind of knows about it because it happened in public, and so the whole town is very protective of him. And so he's kind of like, I'm into her, but I don't want it to be the town's business. And she's kind of like, I just can't get with this man. Like, I just got here. Like, I'm still trying to figure myself out. And so they both kind of like aren't necessarily trying to pursue a relationship for different reasons, but at the same time, they both are like really into each other. And it's weird because they keep being like, I don't even know her, but I like her so much. And it's like, okay, if you're recognizing the fact that you don't know her that well, like, get to know her. Like, so it's kind of weird. Like, I don't really like that. Like, both characters are doing that. They're like, I don't really know her, but like, I want to. It's like, okay, so do something about it instead of just making out in the alley. Like, and then The other thing, and I know I mentioned this in my last clip, is I just like do not like that the main character is like trying to give herself like a personality transplant. Like she's like, new, easy breezy Jeannie. Like, shut the fuck up. Just be like who you're gonna be. Like, you are you for a reason. Like, I don't know. It just bothers me that she's like, oh, well, I moved to this town and I have to like be a whole nother person and blah, 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 because I don't want to die like my boss. And I'm like, okay, like, chill. Like, just, well, like I said, it's her problem. She's trying to chill. I'm like, no, just like stop. So I don't know. It's just like, honestly, like neither one of the characters, I'm like really like, yeah, you go. Like, I both think they're kind of immature for being like 30. And I'm just like not really like invested. And I will say, like, if they just start hooking up before they get to know each other, I'm not going to be super happy with this book. Obviously, I still do want to read the rest of the series, so I'll continue on because, like, the writing isn't bad. It's easy to read, and, like, I haven't gotten to, like, smut yet, so I can't say whether the smut is good or not, but I don't know. I just don't really like the characters, and, like, I just don't like their actions. Like, actions speak louder than words, and, like, their actions are just weird. So I will finish this book up. My Kindle says I only have like less than 2 hours left to read, so I'll finish this book up soon and let you guys know my final thoughts. Okay, friends, I am back with an update because I finished the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I'm not gonna lie, this is not my favorite book. So many of the things I was saying from last time kind of like stand up. Like, they do not know each other. They do not take time to get to know each other. But then obviously by the end of the book, they're in love with each other after like a month. And it's just kind of icky. It's very insta love. Clearly they like don't, like, it's so bizarre. And like even when they like have like kind of decided they're going to be together and then they have like the third act conflict, they're like, I still don't really know her anyways. And it's like, but at the same time, like right before the third act conflict, he was like, oh, I'm going to tell her I love her. And then like the conflict happens. And then he's like, oh, well, I don't really know her anyways. And it's like, do you or not? Like, do you, like, how are you in love with someone that you don't even know? Like, how are you saying that that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be with her when you were literally about to tell her you love her? So didn't love that. Obviously, like, the main character has like issues, like commitment issues, but like that's fine. Like, people are allowed to have issues. Like, did it ever seem like he was going to address them? No, not really. But obviously they work it out. So it was just okay for me. Like, I liked the writing, I liked the small town, I liked the characters. Like, I will definitely continue the series, especially because the next book is about Hazel and Noah. And this one actually, like, the next one, okay, wait, let me pause on that. Let me time out. Let me finish what I was saying about this book. Yeah, so this book was just like okay for me. It was not bad. Like I said, I did enjoy it, but I give it 3 stars. It's not a favorite. A couple other things. One, the smut was just kind of very neutral / icky. Like, there was one scene, oh, this is so gross, I can't believe I'm about to say this on camera, but there was one scene where he was like, wrap your sweet thighs around me. Oh my god, I hated it so much. And then also, it was so gross. Like, the first time they hooked up, like, they used a condom or whatever, and then the second time he was like, oh, like, do I need to get a condom? And she's like, no, I went back on the pill. And he's like, oh, thank God. Ew, red flag. Thank God. Like, no, if she needs you to wear protection, you need to wear protection. Like, that just icked me out. That was like a instant like vibe killer to me. But she was like, no, yeah, let's do it. Like, ew, I hated it. So this was not the book for me. But anyways, also, I did see this book in Barnes & Noble today, and the cover has, like, really pretty gold foiling. Like, all the little leaves are gold foil, so I did think that was super cute. I will not be purchasing this book physically, as I already purchased it on my Kindle, and I didn't really like it that much, so I'm not gonna buy it, but it was really cute. So there's that if you're looking for that. So, I mean, if those are things you can look past, then I think you'll enjoy this one. I think a lot of other people have enjoyed it more than I have, but I just thought it was weird. Like, I just thought that it was just weird. And I don't even know if I've mentioned this in any of my other clips, but while all this is going on, there's like someone trying to kind of like sabotage, quote unquote, sabotage her cafe. And so like that's something else that's like going on. It's kind of, the author was like, it's a romantic mystery. It was just kind of, I don't know, that like side plot was like fine for me, but it wasn't like anything special. So yeah, and then the other thing that was really, like, one thing that was really funny though was like Logan like lives on this like farm with his grandparents, and his grandparents like invited him and her in, or his grandma specifically, his nana, invited him and her into their house to eat dinner, and they're like, oh, and we're not hungry. She's like, I know you've been working up an appetite or something like that, like alluding to the fact that they've been all day, and it's just like, oh my god, that's so like funny but also weird at the same time. But anywho, now we're ready for the second book. The second book is called The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. And this is Hazel's book, and this is going to be about Hazel and Noah, which are characters that we meet in the first book. And I'm excited for this one because there is still kind of like a little mystery element, but in this one they're going on a scavenger hunt together, and I have I have high hopes for this one because I feel like through the scavenger hunt, they will be able to like actually spend time and get to know each other. And so my hope is that it won't be as like insta-lovey and kind of just like icky as this first one. Like I won't have some of the same issues because like I said, like they're hopefully going to be spending time together. So they actually are going to get to know each other. But yeah, so that is my thoughts as of right now. I will check back in once I have started the next one. Okay, hello cuties! I have a quick update for you, and that is that I started the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and I am 50% through. These books read so quickly, which is super nice, especially if you're just trying to like knock some books out, you know, and meet your reading goal. I already met mine, so I don't know why I'm saying it like that, but anyways, so in the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, we are following Hazel and Noah, and Hazel is one of the like original cast of characters. She has lived in Dream Harbor since high school, and Noah is newer to the town. He's been there for a few years, and he runs a like fishing boat tour thing, and Hazel runs the local bookstore. Noah is known for his sleeping around and his kind of just like player antics, and nobody really takes him seriously in terms of relationships. Like they know that he just kind of like sleeps with people that come to town and that he's like not looking for anything serious, but he has a pretty big crush on Hazel, and people have tried to tell Hazel, and Hazel's like, there's no way he could be into me. Like he doesn't do relationships. He doesn't, you know, he just wants to hook up. And so she's like, there's no way kind of thing, right? Like, and she's kind of like, we're just total opposites. Like I'm very controlled and like shy kind of, and he's kind of like a wild person. And so they're kind of just like opposites. And so in Hazel's mind, she's like, there's no way he could like me. There's no way we could like work this out kind of thing. But then she starts finding passages highlighted in her books at her bookstore, and she's like, what the heck? And she thinks that they are like clues for her to try and have more of a fun rest of the summer, because she kind of is having like a crisis at the beginning of the book. She's like, oh my god, I'm almost 30, and like I didn't have a fun college years. I didn't have like fun in my 20s. I wasn't wild. I didn't do anything reckless. Like I kind of wasted my time, and like now I'm turning 30. Like I want to have fun. Like I want to do reckless stuff kind of thing. Not like reckless like to the point where like she's endangering herself or others, but just like, you know, like silly little things that college kids, early 20 kids do. And so she thinks that these highlighted passages are like clues, like telling her how to like have fun and things that she needs to try. And she decides to tell Noah about them, and her and Noah go on these like adventures together. And so that's like the setup for the book, and then we are following their adventures as she gets more clues and stuff like that. And it's interesting. Like it's good so far. I like it better than the other one. Like they are spending time together, but also it's kind of weird how at the beginning of the book she's like, I never really like hooked up with people. I never did anything crazy. And then literally like the first time that she decides that she wants to have fun and him and her hang out, she literally smooches him. Like you can't just go from like I don't do anything like that to just like smooching him. And then every time they hang out, she just like starts flirting with him, and then they just start making out. And it's like, okay, what you're saying and what you're doing are not like matching up. And like I get that she's like trying to be more free and stuff, but it just like doesn't really fit her personality that she's like described herself as. So I'm not like super loving that. And then the other thing that's like icking me out about this book is like she was like, can I kiss you? And he was like, or I don't know if it was like kiss you or like something, but it was like, can I do something to you? And he was like, hell yeah. What are you, 12? Like, and that actually is a thing. Like he's like younger than her. He's like 25. And so she's like, oh, he's too young for me, blah, blah, blah. But then like they're about to have sex, and then she's like, oh, maybe it was a bad idea, you know? And then he's like, oh, hell yeah, I want to have sex with you. Like, why are we saying hell yeah in these situations? That is not okay. That is ew. No. So, yeah, so far I'm liking it, but like obviously they're gonna get their feelings hurt because they're like, this is just for fun, this is casual. But she's like, I don't know how to do casual, I don't know why I'm doing this. And he's like, I'm in love with her, I don't know why I'm doing this. And so obviously there's gonna be some not obviously, but in my opinion, I would guess there's going to be some miscommunication, and then there's going to be some like hurt feelings, but I do think they will end up together because it is a romance book. So yeah, we will see how the rest of that goes, and I will give you an update on once I'm finished with this one. Okay. Why did I do that? Okay, hello. I have finished the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and I'm giving this one 4 stars. So we're stepping it up a little bit. So after the 50% mark, there was indeed some miscommunication conflict. We did figure out who was doing the scavenger hunt for Hazel, which is kind of sweet. And, you know, stuff happens. I don't really want to give away. I will say that, again, I did like that the third act conflict was external. Like, the whole thing was like, are they going to stay together after the summer? And there's kind of like something that comes up with him that he needs to take care of. And so, again, it's not like it kind of was because they weren't communicating, but there was also other factors. So I enjoyed that bit. And I did like that. I feel like in the second half of the book, we saw some like individual character growth as well as like couple growth. So it was nice to see like the characters like being like, okay, I need to work on this. And so I'm doing this, and, you know, kind of coming to terms with things for themselves and not just like relying on the other person to fix it for them. So I did like the personal character development, and I liked like how they worked together. Like, the boy, Noah, at one point was like, I'm doing this for you. Like, I'm trying to be better for you. And she's like, you're fine the way that you are. Like, and so, I mean, because he has some, you know, unresolved trauma, as most men do. So, yeah. But overall, I did like this one. I think this was better than the first one. I still don't love the smut that this author writes, which is fine. It's not like too heavy. It's just kind of fine. It's just fine. It's not like icky, but it's not like great either. I will say also, oh my gosh, the hell yeah part, the hell yeah thing, he said it when she said, I love you. He said, I love you. And she said, you do? And he said, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's so unnecessary. Also, sorry, I saw my desk was probably pretty loud. No, stop. Like, are you kidding me? Like, my boyfriend says it as a joke, but like, not the first time you tell the girl you love her and she's like, yeah, and you're like, hell yeah. Like, no. Okay, that was like my one ick with this book, was the hell yeah part. And then I just like thought that it could have been like written better, but I still got through it really quickly, and I did enjoy it, and I am looking forward to the next book. So with that being said, let's talk about the next book. So the next book is called The Christmas Tree Farm, and we get introduced to the person who bought the Christmas Tree Farm in Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, but just like very briefly. They're having a town meeting, and she comes in, and the mayor's like, oh, like, we'd love to talk about like reopening the Christmas Tree Farm. Like, a lot of us have very special memories there. Like, we're so excited. And she's like, I'm not opening the farm. Like, I'm not making a Christmas Tree Farm. And then just kind of like leaves. And so something is going on there where she has like her own little thing that she doesn't want to open the Christmas Tree Farm. And then I believe this romance is between Jeannie's brother, Bennett, who she talks to a lot in Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So he is coming to visit during the holidays, and I believe the romance is between her brother and the Christmas tree girl, and I can't remember her name. I think it's Kira, but don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong. That is the romance we are following. And yeah, I will say I'm kind of disappointed. I really thought that they were going to make a book about Annie and Mac, and so I like hope that that's something that happens. There already is a 4th book planned as well, and the 4th book is about like people that are newer to town, so it's not like necessarily any of the characters that we know so far that I can like recall. So kind of disappointing that at this point in time it doesn't appear that there's going to be a Mac and a Annie book, which is what I'm waiting for. But I'm going to finish out this vlog by reading the 3rd book, because the 4th book doesn't come out until March, and I don't have an arc or anything of that yet, so I cannot read that one for you guys in this video, but I will definitely pick it up when I can access it. Okay, let's talk about the Christmas Tree Farm. So I started the Christmas Tree Farm and I read about 20%, and so I have a little bit of a better understanding about what is going on here. And so, like I said before, this book follows Kira, who is the Christmas Tree Farm owner, and Jeannie's brother, Ben. And Ben is in town visiting, and he kind of stumbles onto her farm and talks to her, and because he doesn't really realize that anybody's there. And then he finds out that she is not reopening the Christmas Tree Farm, even though like everyone in town wants her to. And he goes to the town meeting, and these town meetings are like kind of crazy. Like the mayor's kind of crazy. He like runs the town based on like dreams that he has and stuff. And so somehow at the town meeting, they convince Ben to go and check on her and like see if she's okay. And apparently there's like something like a little sus like about this land and the people who previously owned it. Just like the other two books, there's like this is like a little mystery element. And so he keeps going back to the farm and he keeps like checking on Kira, and Kira's very much so like, I don't need your help, but also like she finds herself saying yes to him and like letting him in and making him coffee and stuff like that, even though like internally she's like, why am I doing this? But then she's kind of like, but it's kind of nice to like have someone. And you also find out that Kira's sister has gotten married and moved away, like out of the United States away. And so she's having a really hard time with that. And this is kind of like her first time in her life being on her own. So like that is kind of why she is very distant and just like not enthused with all these other town people. She's like having her own issues to deal with basically. So that is kind of the setup for this book. And Kira does end up reopening the Christmas Tree Farm. And so we're like going from there. And I also believe in my last clip that I said that the next book follows Iris. And I was like, who the heck is Iris? We haven't met her. We do meet her in this book. She works at the Christmas Tree Farm. So it makes me feel a little bit better, but still kind of annoyed that we're not getting a book about Annie and Mac. Hello, Laurie Gilmore. Please hook us up with that. Anywho, so far this book, I mean, I don't really have too many feelings. I've only read 20%, and we've kind of just got, like, the setup out of the way. Obviously, it's going to be a story between Ben and Kira. I am interested to see, like, what's on the farm. Like, there is, like, something, like, left on the farm, according to the people of the town. So I am interested in this little mystery situation. So we shall see. I plan on finishing this one up soon, since these are super quick, short, easy reads. And I will let you know what I think. And also, I did just want to mention another thing about these books that kind of icks me out is like everyone, they call them like the sexy. Like they'll be like in the first book, she was like the sexy farmer, or he was like the sexy coffee shop owner. And then like in the second book, it was like the sexy fisherman or like the sexy bookstore girl. And it's like, do people really say that? Like, am I the one that's like the odd person out that like by not saying this stuff? Or is that like weird? Like, that's not a thing, right? And then this one, they're like, oh, this sexy Christmas tree girl. And it's like, ew, why are we doing that? Like, is that a thing? If that's a thing, let me know, because it's kind of icking me out. I like, the more I read these books, the more like icks I have, but they're not like so big that I can't like handle them. The Hell Yeah was a big ick, but like this little sexy thing, it's kind of an ick, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna finish this one up, and I will let you know my final thoughts on this book and the series as a whole. Hello friends, I am back with an update about the Christmas Tree Farm because I have finished it. So I have finished now all 3 books that are published in the Dream Harbor series. And again, this third book, we're following Kira and Bennett. And Bennett is Jeannie's sister from the first book. And Kira owns the Christmas Tree Farm. And at first, she's very reluctant to open the Christmas Tree Farm because she kind of just wants to live on her farm by herself after her sister Chloe moves to France with her new husband, because she just kind of feels like she doesn't have anyone in her life anymore, and her sister was like the most important person to her, and so she just thinks that she deserves to be alone, especially when she kind of like reevaluates and she thinks like, oh, I've been a selfish person, I've been a bad person. And so she kind of just like has this plan to self-isolate up on the farm by herself and not open the Christmas Tree Farm, which obviously, again, her plans do get changed, and she does open the Christmas Tree Farm mostly due to the fact that she runs into Bennett on her land, and Bennett kind of goes up there and helps her fix some stuff around her house and kind of encourages her to open up the Christmas Tree Farm. So we have that aspect as the romance, and then these also all have like a little mystery element in them. And so the mystery element in this one is that the old man who previously owned the house and the Christmas tree farm had left something on his property, and it was possibly like a treasure, but then like half the town thought that it was like a dead body. And so they kind of were sending Bennett up there repeatedly to try and investigate and try and like figure out what was on the farm. And you do obviously get resolution there. It's not a dead body, but I won't tell you what it is. And so, yeah, and then the other really fun part of this book is Kira hates Christmas because of her past, and Bennett loves Christmas, and this book obviously takes place in the Christmas season when she is running her Christmas tree farm. And it's really fun to watch them fall in love and to watch her rediscover the magic of Christmas and just realize that you can be independent without being alone and just come to love Christmas. I personally love Christmas, so I liked her growth in that aspect. One thing I forgot to say, I guess, but I'll say now, is Bennett is Jeannie's sister, but he lives in California. And so, like, obviously the whole time this romance is happening, he's like, I'm going back to California at the end of the month. And so we have, it has that deadline on it. And then, of course, there's going to be the you should stay, no you shouldn't, blah 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 type conflict. I'm not going to spoil what actually happens, but obviously like that is going to be the main type of conflict, is like he's supposed to go back to California at the end of the month. So overall, I did enjoy this one. I gave it 3 stars. I just thought that it was a little bit like messy at times for no reason, and I also thought the smut kind of got kicked up a little bit, and it was just a little icky sometimes. So yeah, those are my opinions about the 3rd book. Oh, actually, I lied. There's 2 other things that I want to say about the Christmas Tree Farm. One, Logan's Nana is like the best little side character because she always just like talks about the people having sex, and she just always like makes comments. And so like Kira and Bennett like show up, and she's like, oh, good for you, sweetie. And they're like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. And it's like, she's like, what? Why are you acting like that? Like, 2 adults can't have sex? And it's just so funny. And then another thing is there was a Taylor Swift reference in the book, and it said she left the Christmas lights up until January because this is her place and she makes the rules. And I just thought that was such a fun little touch because I love Taylor Swift. And now I'm wondering, like, did I miss other nods to Taylor Swift in her other books because I was just zooming through them? But yeah, I thought that was super fun. In order from favorite to least favorite, I would say the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore is number 1, and then number 2 is the Christmas Tree Farm, and then number 3 is Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So I hope that if you read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, you plan on continuing with the series and reading, because I think the books get better. Again, nothing wrong with the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I just thought the miscommunication and like the actual relationship development was very lacking in that book. But I did love the town, love the people. So obviously that was what kind of kept me around and made me continue on with this series. And I do know that there's going to be 2 more books in this series. So we have the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, which comes out early in 2025. And then we have a book about Mac and Annie, finally! And I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but that one is supposed to come out in later 2025. So I will definitely be picking those up when they come out. Yeah, that is all I have for you today about these books. I do encourage you to read them if you're just looking for a fun, small town, good time with a good cast of characters. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. If you like this video, like and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Love you.